Hey guys, it's Shawn with It's Tea Time 2010. I'm a few days behind on this last week's topic, which was jail. This is actually going to be my second attempt to make this video and post it. Since I haven't had any personal experience with running into law enforcement, I decided to do some research on frequently asked questions for the trans community, by the trans community. The website that I went to is called TCOPS, and TCOPS stands for Transgender Community of Police and Sheriffs. And one of the first questions is, what happens if my gender appearance on my driver's license is different from my gender appearance when the officer meets me? You actually need to tell the officer that you are transgendered, or that you're transsexual, or that you've changed genders but your ID just doesn't reflect it at this time. You might have to get into a further explanation. Sometimes law enforcement isn't as educated on the topic of, being trans. Another question is, what happens if I give a police officer a name other than the one on my identification? You need to give the officer your birth name if that's what it says on your ID. If you don't and you give them another name, it's actually going to be considered a lie, which can then turn into a misdemeanor or a felony depending on your circumstances, and more than likely you will be booked and sent to jail. Also, the names that you did give the officer, I think it'll appear on your criminal history. So, yeah. What happens if I possess more than one form of identification in different names and or genders? So, if you have your license or ID and it has female on it and it has your birth name on it, but you have another license or ID that has your new gender on it or your new name, it's actually illegal to carry both. You're supposed to turn in your old driver's license or ID when you get your new one. You may or may not be arrested and booked in jail, and it can actually create problems when you're trying to get a job or you have future incidents with the law. And in the case that you are arrested, regardless of your dress or gender appearance, you're going to be booked into the jail under your legal name if it's known. You're also going to be taken to the male or female booking section according to your anatomy, unless you're in San Francisco, California. So, yeah. The other inmates will see you come in as you're dressed, and that could present a safety risk for you. More than likely, you're probably going to be placed in protective custody because you're going to be considered part of the LGBT community, and they're going to segregate you from the main jail population to keep you safe. You're also going to be subject to a strip search of your person, and all of your possessions, clothing, and personal items are going to be taken from you. If they don't segregate you and you feel like you need protection, you actually have to get a hold of the classification officer so you can address that with them. And if you actually encounter problems with the officer themselves after you've already explained your circumstances, you need to contact their superior and explain to them your grievance and ask for corrective measures. When they do corrective measures, they're not going to do it in front of you. They're going to do it privately. And if you're not happy with their solution, you can actually go ahead and contact Internal Affairs, or you can make a personal complaint. You can make a personal complaint and for violations of policy or procedure or criminal activity. If you can't go to Internal Affairs, you can actually go seek out the next level, which is the Police Commission or Human Rights Commission, or the Independent Police Auditors, from which I understand they actually do take the complaints really seriously and look into them. If your complaint is a crime against you or another person by a peace officer, you can also go to the State General's Office or the Federal Bureau of Investigation if it's a corruption issue or you feel like your civil rights were violated. And lastly, if you are a victim of a hate crime or a bias-related incident, reported to the authorities, because it's actually illegal for them not to take a crime report in the state of California. So, yeah, this is just some of the information that I found. Again, it's a website called T-Cops. And, yeah, that's about it. See you guys later.